The next video is literally me trying to undo all this video right now is me trying to undo all of the misinformation that is being spread right now. If you watch this video, please, I am only speaking in facts and logic. Ned Leeds is not the Hobgoblin. Ned in Tom Holland in the MCU, he could become the Hobgoblin, but everyone's like, oh, he's going to become evil in the Hobgoblin in this universe because they've already used the Green Goblin, and they can't use the Green Goblin, and maybe he starts to remember things, and he remembers the Green Goblin, or because of the magic and whatever, and he becomes the Hobgoblin because he's mad at Peter or whatever, because in the comics, he was the Hobgoblin. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. And you can just Google this and know, and that I don't blame people for not knowing, because it is a very confusing saga. It's a very confusing arc. It's very confusing because of all the dummies and body doubles that Roderick Kingsley uses. Roderick Kingsley? Who's that? That's the Hobgoblin. He's a pharmaceutical billionaire. And the difference between him and Norman Osborn is he pays off the courts and he never goes to jail, ever. Well, that's not really the only difference, but that's kind of the thing that separates them in most story arcs, is that Peter has to deal with him always being out there, but there's nothing he can do about it without taking matters into his own hands. And that's not something Peter's going to do, at least in more recent years. Probably not in the original arc. It's been a while since I read it. The last time I read it, I decided to just read a story because, again, I don't blame you for not knowing, because it's very confusing. It's very hard to read sometimes because of the amount of body doubles and brainwashed fall guys he uses. But Ned Leeds is not the Hobgoblin. He is another one of those body doubles, another one of those fall guys. The reason why there is this misinformation is it's an editorial thing. I had to look it up to do research for this video because I was like, why do so many people believe it? And this is the reason why. The original writer of that story, he wanted Roderick Kingsley to be the Hobgoblin. Well, he left Marvel, so he's no longer in the picture. The next writer, makes Ned Leeds the actual Hobgoblin. And for the longest time, Ned Leeds was the Hobgoblin. Well, then, the original writer, he comes back to Marvel, and when he's writing again, he retcons this guy's work and says, Ned Leeds? That was just another brainwashed fall guy. This is Roderick Kingsley. This is the Hobgoblin. So that's why it's so confusing, because it is a retcon. And I didn't know that until I looked it up. I just thought it was confusing and they didn't know what they were doing. Googling is great. I do love learning about these. I'm surprised I didn't Google it sooner. But I don't blame people for not knowing this. That being said, will Ned Leeds be the Hobgoblin in the MCU? I don't think so. It just doesn't really seem in the cards. I mean, look at the Hobgoblin. I just don't see it. I can't see this version of Ned Leeds being the Hobgoblin, in the same way that I can't see this version of Flash Thompson being Agent Venom, or Anti-Venom. He's currently Anti-Venom in the comics, government-funded. It's weird, and I don't follow him, but that's what's going on. I don't see that. I don't think it's taking that much inspiration. Maybe he becomes evil. Maybe he gets magic powers. But I don't see him being the Hobgoblin in almost any way imaginable. I just don't see it. It's a different version of the character. Maybe they use the original storyline where Ned Leeds is a brainwashed fall guy. And just happens to be Ned Leeds because they've seen not Peter Parker, but they've seen, in Brandnewday, Spider-Man was hanging out with Ned. Maybe they see some sort of interaction with them, or maybe they just interact on the street and someone sees them interact on the street. Maybe they don't know that they're close friends or whatever, and they do the Lex Luthor thing of oh, this guy, you know this guy, and so I'm going to shoot him. You remember him, like the Lex Luthor in the Superman movie, which was, oh, good scene, by the way. Great scene. Amazing scene. But I see them doing that, or any version of that, but I don't really see him being the Hobgoblin full time, because the Hobgoblin is a very physically fit person. This has nothing to do with the actor. I'm trying to figure out how to word this the best way possible, but if he's the Hobgoblin, to me it's guy behind the desk, not guy on the glider taking steroids to be super strong. Which, in the current runs of the comics, Roderick Kingsley has stopped taking the goblin formula and stuff, and he just does that naturally, so maybe he doesn't need to take the steroids, but in the original source material, he takes the steroids, because he's the fall guy, he's the brainwash guy, to be able to do that stuff. Roderick Kingsley especially uses the steroids and everything, so I just can't imagine that character doing that, like, in that role. In the same way that I can't imagine this version of MJ doing any of the stuff that the original MJ did. Because, and I know it's not Mary Jane, right? There are different characters. They just happen to be MJ and MJ. Because Marvel wanted to use the name MJ, but they don't have rights to Mary Jane. I get it. I understand they're different characters. But I can't imagine comic MJ and current MJ doing any of the same things. They're just functionally different characters on every level of the board. And then I've seen so many videos going, Marvel doesn't like throwaway lines. That thing about Ned promising not to be a villain, that's going to be used later. Have you watched any of the movies? Marvel writes throwaway lines all the time. Don't you remember when Harry Styles was in the MCU? As Thanos' brother? They write throwaway shit all the time. And even if it's not meant to be throwaway shit, they write shit and throw it away. There's not really a plan when they make these movies. They filmed Iron Man 1 without finishing the script. The script was not finished when they started filming. At least, quick Google search. Reddit. IMDb. Variety. There was not a finished script. I wanted to make sure I wasn't LARPing and I had my information correct. But that's the point. These Marvel movies don't have everything finished when they have it, and a lot of it is finished in post. Like J. Jonah Jameson being in Far From Home, or No Way Home. There's this little scene of it. That was very last minute. There's an interview with J.K. Simmons saying, like, yeah, they didn't really have space for me to do it. I just was in some executive office. They filmed it there. It was done within, like, 3 days. I was contacted. In, like, 3 days, I was there. I filmed it, and I was done. And, like, that's it. They finished it because they don't really have a plan with it. It's why Brand New Day was so amazing, because Tom Holland had just worked with Christopher Nolan on The Odyssey, and whatever your opinions are on The Odyssey, Christopher Nolan has a plan for his movie before he starts the movie, and because of that plan, they were able to finish early and under budget. These are all facts that you can confirm, and from that, Tom Holland went to Marvel and said, I need to be able to tell you what's going to happen in this movie and, like, have some sort of control over it, or else I'm not acting in it, or that part might be just LARP. Part might be LARP, but I'm not Googling it again on camera. But the point is, for that movie, Daniel Destin had a plan. He knew what he was doing. And the movie turned out great because of it. And I'm not saying all the older movies were bad, because they didn't know what they were doing. The point is that they don't have a finished plan all the time. They definitely have throwaway lines and throwaway moments. So that argument's invalid. So he's not the Hobgoblin. That's not... There is throwaway lines and stuff. Sure, he can use magic, but that could be referencing literally anything else, or setting him up to be other characters. Like, maybe Ned Leeds is our stand-in for Nico. Who knows? Maybe they don't want to use Nico in this universe because they don't want to have the Runaways, and they don't want to have self-harm, which I think that's been written out of her character recently. I haven't seen it in quite a bit of time, but I haven't, like, actually figured that out. So I'm pretty sure that's been written out of the character. Anyways, like, it's, yeah, what are we doing? This is absolute misinformation. And I don't blame anyone for believing this or believing it when they see it, but I'm hoping that after seeing this video, you realize that things are a lot more complex. People don't do Google searches. So whenever you see theories like this and you're like, oh, they're saying this character was that character, there's a good chance they might just be LARPing. Do a quick Google search, because it is genuinely so easy. Here's my Iron Man tab that I just Googled for Iron Man. Watch how easy it is to find this out. Hobgoblin Marvel Comics. This is what I was looking for. The original Hobgoblin's true identity was one of the longest running mysteries in Spider-Man comics, as he often used brainwashed body doubles and stand-ins. Stern's original plan was for the character's alter ego to be Roderick Kingsley, an amoral billionaire fashion designer. Fashion designer? Am I LARPing? And Mary Jane Watson's former boss. No, he's just owns a pharmaceutical company in the most recent appearance in the 2025 comic. The one that, again, I thought that was a really good story, but didn't do anything for his character, kept in the procedural loop of Spider-Man. Anyways, I have a video on that. Go watch it. Mary Jane Watson's former boss, but editorial conflicts, his departure, they made Hobgoblin Ned Leeds, Peter Parker's co-worker at the Daily Bugle. He was dissatisfied with this revelation, and upon returning to Marvel, he retroactively established Kingsley as the Hobgoblin, with Leeds reframed as one of Kingsley's many Fall Guys. There are plenty of other characters that have been Fall Guys. Flash Thompson, Daniel Kingsley, Claude, Lefty Donovan. You can just Google this shit. This is on the Hobgoblin's Wikipedia page. Like, Ned Leeds is a cool character. Fictional character biography, powers and abilities, Bachelor of Arts in journalism. He was a normal man, regular exercise. He doesn't have powers. People have been saying that, oh, he has chaos magic powers and stuff. Ned Leeds just doesn't have powers in the comics. Like, even the magic stuff, sure, they're probably setting up literally anything else because he doesn't have powers in at least many adaptations. This is the original comics. He just doesn't have powers. It's quite literally that easy to do misinformation checks. So that's all this video is. Please, when you see theories like this, just do a little bit of research. I think he could be the Hobgoblin. Maybe not in earnest, maybe as a Fall Guy. I don't think he'll be the Hobgoblin in earnest. And the only reason people think he will be and keep insisting that he could be is because of the sheer amount of confusion and misinformation about this topic. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This is not to shame anybody. Have a great day.